So I guess you're here because you want to know what healer I'm going to main in 9.1. And I'm extremely excited to say that after years of contemplation, I've decided to main an amazing Blood DK, guys. I'm going to be dead striking to the top of the healing meters, and let's be honest, that's the only reason to play a healer anyways. Okay, without memeing too much, guys, I'm probably not going to be maining Blood DK, even though they are looking quite interesting in 9.1, but this is all about the healers. It's all about the healers that I'm going to be playing in Mythic Plus, in raid situations, and my reasons behind those choices. And we might also look at healers that I find really fun. I know it is a subjective kind of question, but this is something that I get asked on a daily basis, so I guess there's a decent amount of people out there who want to know which healer I find fun and what are the reasons. So let's go and get started with my main for Shadowlands patch 9.1. Now, I do want to talk about some disclaimers before we get to the main section of the video, but I don't want the video to drag on, so you can see there's bookmarks throughout the video where you can skip to the main section if you want to. But I do want to talk about certain reasons behind my main choice, because I do get a certain amount of criticism because I'm picking main or meta classes all of the time. And there are some specific reasons for that. I do a lot of times advise people to play whatever they enjoy, and a lot of the times you don't have to chase the meta. But there's also a flip side to the coin where you won't get invited to certain level keys if you're not playing certain specs. You won't get, or you might have to sit out on certain bosses, but I find every single healing spec out there, so the 6 healing specs, 5 healing classes, to be interesting, to provide a different experience, because all of them have different strengths, different weaknesses, and they provide a unique approach to different fights in Mythic Plus or raids. I don't hate any single healing spec out there, and I could, if I had to, main any one of those and have a really good time for that single tier. And this is why you see me a lot of the time swapping to different mains from different raid tiers, sometimes swapping 2 different mains for the same progression. Like, for example, if you watch me during Nilota, I started progress as a Restoration Shaman and I ended it as a Holy Paladin because Holy Paladins were really strong, they were really fun, glimmer and things like that. So a lot of the times I do change mains to have more interesting approach to the game because I play this game so much. So when a certain healer becomes meta or is perceived to be really strong, a lot of the times for me swapping that healer is not a big deal because I'll probably enjoy the playstyle anyways. And especially when you play in content where, hey, I poke a lot of Mythic Plus, guys. You probably saw me at the very start of Shadowlands. I was poking high-end Mythic Plus content, and honestly, if you're not playing meta class, you probably won't get invited. It'll take you too long to get invited. In the same way that if you have a guild that is progressing or trying to get higher ranks every season, where you have equally skilled players or equally skilled healers that play their class really well and they might play meta classes, trying to bring in a non-meta class can be difficult, or you might be expected to sit or be on the bench for a couple of fights, especially if the fight doesn't require like 4 healers, maybe it requires 3 healers and things like that. So all of a sudden, playing a meta class becomes a bigger choice if you want to see more of the content. At the end of the day, it really depends on what is your goal in World of Warcraft. Are you pushing higher end content? Are you trying to get invited to groups? Are you trying to have the most fun? So the main choice should really depend on what is your goal in World of Warcraft, and I don't want to push my choices onto you, so keep that in mind, guys. So without making this video a bit too long, guys, I've decided on 3 healers to main for the next patch, and I know 3 sounds like quite a big number. This might change based on how Alton friendly it's going to be, but a lot of the times I try to keep a backup healers in case, hey, this healer is going to be strong for this fight, or maybe I'm just gonna enjoy a new possible build for those healers. But my main for 9.1 is going to be based on what the guild needs. It's going to be based on what I enjoy in raid situations, because you have to remember my main is based on raid progression first and Mythic Plus second. And it's going to be a safe option that I've already mained, and it's going to be Restoration Shaman. Now, because this video is released so late, you can see how difficult this choice was, because honestly, I was looking away to, or kinda looking to step away from Resto Shaman if possible. It's not that I don't enjoy Resto Shaman, it's that I enjoy variety. I think Resto Shaman is going to be a pretty safe choice in all content right now in 9.1. In terms of enjoyment and fun, I've always enjoyed Resto Shaman, especially in raiding content, because Primordial Wave, because the way the Unleash Life works, the way the Cloudburst works, I think it provides a lot of, how do I say, a higher skill ceiling to the class. If Cloudburst wasn't the meta for Resto Shaman, I probably wouldn't play it, because I feel Cloudburst makes Resto Shaman a lot more interesting. You also have to consider the Resto Shaman is basically this utility king with a bunch of utility tools that allows your guild to have an easier time with your Windrush totem, with your APT totem. You have, again, a multiple ways to help your guild progress raid bosses. And considering that you're coming from 9.05 in terms of Resto Shaman changes, there's nothing really that's going to impact the gameplay. If you played Resto Shaman as Primordial Wave, Necrolord in raid situations in 9.05, you're probably going to be doing the exact same thing in 9.1. In the same way that Ventir is still looking really strong in Mythic Plus situations, where the Covenant specific legendary is also looking very, very nice. And looking at Resto Shaman in 9.1, it is a good utility healer. It is viewed as a good healer both in raids and Mythic Plus. It is a fun healer, especially if you like Cloudburst, especially if you like Unleash Life and having a bit higher skill ceiling. So I feel Resto Shaman is honestly probably the safest choice for me. Now, there was also another healer that I was kind of looking into maining and possibly playing in 9.1, especially if he was getting more kind of buffs, and that is going to be Mistweaver Monk. Now, Mistweaver receives some certain buffs in terms of how Revival works, in terms of mastery scaling with Revival, in terms of, again, Fist Weaving being a dominant play choice for Mistweaver Monks. I feel, in my opinion, Fist Weaving is extremely fun both in raids and Mythic Plus, and it's something that I kind of explored. I actually find the Fist Weaving rotation to be a lot more fun than what Holy Paladin melee rotation is like, but that is, again, super personal opinion. I feel just the whole 1-2-3 button type of rotation for Mistweaver interacts in a nicer way than it does to Holy Paladin, but let me know if you feel differently. I feel Mistweaver with Fist Weaving can be really fun, and I feel there is a lot of things that are going to make it a bit more viable in terms of, like, hey, there's going to be infinite mana traits in Mythic Plus that are going to help out with your mana consumption. That sounds pretty interesting. The new buffs to Mistweavers will make Revival a much more potent HPS cooldown in raid situations, but at the same time, I'm still waiting for possible more buffs to Mistweavers when it comes to maybe the heroic Mythic raid release in terms of, you know, they do fine-tuning right before Mythic. If there's going to be more changes, I will try to look into possibly putting more time into Mistweaver, but this time it is my second or third out. And another healer that I'm looking to put more time into is going to be Restoration Druid, and Resto is something that I started off this channel. I played a lot of it in Legion, and honestly, I kind of wanted to go back to Resto, but a lot of the times Resto is either only amazing in Mythic Plus and somewhat to be mid-tier in raid situations. And because I do enjoy raiding the most, or raid progression the most, a lot of the times Resto just falls a little bit down in terms of my choices. At the end of the day, there is not a lot of things happening to Restoration Druid, but I do feel the Sanctum of Domination fights. There's quite a few fights that require, how do I say, a lot of movement and rot or decay type of health profile. So having your HOTS do a lot of healing on the move feels like a really fun and interesting playstyle in raid situations. In Mythic Plus, I'm honestly trying to experiment with the new possible build with Necrolord for that strong single target damage, and it's something that honestly, if Feral Affinity is gonna come into play, if I'm going to try and focus my DPS, it's something that I enjoyed the most in Legion. And if that kind of translates to Shadowlands 9.1 in terms of Resto Druid playstyle, it's definitely something that I'm looking to explore. And these are the type of healers that I'm probably going to be putting the most time. That is going to be your Resto Shaman, your Mistweaver Monk, your Restoration Druid. Now, Resto Shaman is your safe pick that I enjoy, and it's probably going to get me invited both in raids and Mythic Plus. And then after that, I have these kind of, to some extent, underdog healers that I want to succeed. And honestly, if they have certain niche fights or maybe they get more buffs, I'm looking to main and looking to push and play more of those, and that is Mistweaver Monk and Restoration Druid. A lot of people might be like, why aren't you playing your Holy Paladin? What's going on? Our guild composition, we already have 2 Holy Paladins. 3 Holy Paladins might be a bit of a push. I still probably will play Holy Paladin later down the line if they're going to be the only ones that are going to be invited in high-end Pug Mythic Plus situations. And I really hope that's not going to happen, because we had the same exact thing happening at start of Shadowlands, where if you're not Venti Holy Paladin, if you're pugging 20 plus keys, you're most likely gonna have a really hard time getting invited. So there's still a lot of open interpretation in terms of what heal I'm going to be progressing during the raid. Again, these are the healers that I'm going to be putting in the most time, because I think they're really fun and they're kind of different. I have a melee healer in there, I have a hot healer in there, I have a utility healer. I'm covering all of the bases to some extent. And all of the healers that I chose to play, I find them really fun in either one content or all contents. Like for example, I find Resto Shaman to be the most fun in raid situations with that Cloud Burst, Unleash Life, Primordial Wave combo. I find Fist Weaving to be really fun in all content. And Resto Druid, honestly, hot type of healing on the move, can be really interesting. And a lot of people might be, what about Priest? Are you not excited about the new Kyrian build? Are you not excited about the new rotation? And honestly, I have nothing but love for Priest, but for me, I'm not sure if Discipline Priest Spiritual build is for me in raid situations. It's something that I've tried out, and for me it feels too scientific. Now when I say this, I mean in terms of, hey, you have this set rotation, you have to do it every 1 minute. It's going to be a bit more in 9.1, but you have a list of abilities that you need to press in order to optimize it, and that kind of healing is not very appealing for me, and it's only for raids. Like, I really like Discipline Priest and Mythic Plus, where I feel like you have to DPS in order to heal. That playstyle has really grown on me in the last couple of years, but I also feel that once you have to go and play super defensive, spam your Shadowlands, it feels really kind of weird. And an obvious fix would be to scale your atonement based on how many players have it, but Blizzard has not really approached that in the last couple of years as well. And I'm still not 100% sold on this Discipline Priest playstyle, especially in Sanctum Domination, where Spatial is still looking to be strong combined with the new playstyle. I feel it's going to be somewhat rigid in terms of what you need to press, when you need to press it. And I know this is just my personal opinion, and I know there's a bunch of other healers that have these burst windows, like Resto Shaman with Cloud Burst, but I feel they have more leniency in terms of how to, you know, which spells you want to put in, what kind of order you want to do it, while Discipline Priest is a lot more strict. On the flip side, I actually find Discipline Priest to be one of the most fun healers in Mythic Plus situations when you're not forced to go defensive and spam Shadowman. So this is why I had such a hard time when deciding whether to play a Discipline Priest or Priest in general, when I really enjoyed them in Mythic Plus and maybe I enjoyed them a bit less in raid situations. But I can tell you 100% that I'll be trying out that Discipline Priest build, that Buno Descendant 1 minute build with your Kyrian specific legendary with Mechanical Soulbind trait. The build looks extremely fun in Mythic Plus, and I know for a fact I'll be playing or trying out Discipline Priest with this build a lot more in 9.1. And again guys, this has been my 9.1 main video. This is extremely subjective. This is me thinking out loud in terms of, hey, I'm playing this healer because of this and these are my reasons. But what I really want to know, what healer are you maining in 9.1 and what are your reasons? If you enjoyed this content, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.